Hi, and welcome back to Webinare, IPC, and Voice Conference. My name is Maika Mögus, and I'm from the editorial team at Software and Support Media. And now I'm here with Angelique from Visual Prototyping. Hi, Angelique.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for being here. So your talk is going to be on visual absurdity as a framework for UX design.
Yes.
And everyone attending can use the chat room to ask questions about your talk or leave comments, or if you should have technical issues, you can also write that in the chat and we will help you. And now, please enjoy the session.
So am I sharing screen now?
Not yet.
Yes?
No, it's not working yet.
Okay. So now I'm in the Zoom meeting, share screen. Yeah.
Yes, now you're sharing your screen.
Yeah. So, hello everybody. My name is Angelique Angeletu, and I'm a UX designer and a visual coach based in Vienna. And I'm making this presentation because I have been teaching to non-designers how to make nice contemporary visuals for their research and business presentations. And during UX work, I have absorbed so much of our digital iconography from websites and platforms. And I started feeling a bit tired of all the consistency and all the flat, perfect style that we apply, that sometimes it is great and sometimes it can look a bit lifeless. So my goal is to just make you aware of what the digital iconography that is all around us communicates, and to make you aware of the box that we find ourselves as product managers and as UX designers and visual artists working on the web. How we can re-examine through stretching a little bit our boundaries, our relationship with our work and our audience. Okay. So myself, I am not absurd. I always try to be very predictable. So here is the overview of my presentation. First, we'll examine the land of the consistent, happy, and flat, nice contemporary interfaces and work of UX and illustrators and other platforms and websites. And then we will study the land of the absurd and find examples in pop culture, in UX, in marketing and art. And then we'll break it down and see what it is made of and take bits and pieces of it and see how we can bring them back to our quest for the perfect, consistent interfaces that we're making, we're trying to make daily. So as UX designers, we have taken over the most important landscape in the life of Western people, their browser. And we have made so many efforts to be consistent and user-friendly that now a lot of people with many different backgrounds and from a wide range of education and age and culture can understand what the cog icon means and what they can find behind the home button. And that is great. That has a great advantage, and we have gone so far to have rules of thumb and to make design systems and to have templates for screens that we are using and reusing. so that everyone can know what to expect when they see a register page. But behind the word user-friendly, which is what we're trying to make with our UX and UI, there is a relationship implied, an emotional relationship. So I want to invite you to think, what do we communicate visually through this flat, beautiful consistency? Now, these are some illustrations from, on the right side, Slack and Airbnb, and on the left side, free stock illustration and Facebook. And what do you see here? I see vibrant people who look inspired. They are cheerful. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going. We have a kind of a world of meaning and ease and flawlessness depicted. And it's natural why companies want to communicate that with their end users. This is what they want to make you feel, ease and some form of everything will happen in flow and everything has meaning and everything is logical. And I'm sure that the fact of that we have so much adopted this style of ease and flawlessness visually has a lot to do with Asian influences, in particular the Japanese culture of kawaii, which means cute. So kawaii depicts some form of childlike beauty and symbolizes innocence and the quest for happiness and optimism. So again, I want to invite you, what cute communicates to you? What is cute? How does it affect the recipient of the message? Who can resist to the "it's so fluffy, I'm gonna die" girl from Despicable Me? I hope you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, just watch the movie. It's very amusing. So in this case, for me, cute communicates a situation where you feel non-threatened and also smitten, melted, sweetened, ready to give in, open to what the cute can suggest. And you, of course, also feel positive. All this is nice and good. And when we show things that are nice and good, we also expect users to feel nice and good, right? So I leave that here, and then I want to take you to the other side, the dark world, the land of the absurd. That's also my title. So how did everything start? So after First World War, we had a lot of people were feeling a lot of fear and horror, and the artists wanted to break free from the idea that they had to create visual candies for the bourgeois society to enjoy and consume. They wanted to create meaning. They wanted to be political, to be more involved in the society. Creating beauty was not enough. And the Dada movement started almost, although it was officially founded in Zurich, it started almost popping out simultaneously in different cities all over the world, from New York to Berlin to Cologne to Zurich, Paris. This form of art that declined the conventions, the normal processes of artists, and wanted to create something more conceptual, and they often used rawness and ugliness to achieve their goal. So the most famous work of Dada is perhaps the Fountain from Marcel Duchamp, 1917. So Marcel Duchamp was a great painter, but he was just tired of having to create beautiful things. and he wanted to create meaning. So he started buying objects, normal everyday objects, and like this urinal, the fountain, modified them, in this case just signed them, and presented them in an art context, thus elevating their status. And after the Second World War, we had many dramaturgists like Ionesco and Samuel Beckett that were also dealing with the idea that the world is absurd and the world is somehow devoid of meaning, and that we have to accept also the dark, mundane, boring side of life. And before them, there was also Albert Camus, a famous philosopher and writer. In the case of Waiting for Godot, the heroes of the play, they're never introduced. They're just waiting for nothing. They have purposeless dialogues, and the whole play is just without any satisfying end, or without following any theatrical conventions. And this play is still considered a masterpiece. Going to more recent movies, that is, we go to the Big Lebowski movie, which is kind of like the continuation of Samuel Beckett's idea. So I'm sure many of you have seen Big Lebowski, and it's a movie where the hero is just named Dude, and he's doing the most irrational thing. He just drops off $1 million to keep his rug, and the rest of the time he spends going for bowling with his friends, who are also kind of absurd. They don't talk about nothing. Plot is kind of inexistent, and when a friend of theirs dies, they just shrug it off as if nothing happened. The critics back then thought that the movie, they have mixed reviews about the movie. But now we see that after 30 years after, we see that they totally lost the point. The Big Lebowski has risen to an iconic cult status, and there are even festivals dedicated to it today. So the absurd, in a way, it's rejecting conventions and tries to make the audience see beyond them to something that looks more like normal life, where not everything has meaning and not everything is beautiful and purposeful. So while researching a bit absurd things, absurd artists, I was thinking about that absurdists might not want to be deconstructed, just like a good joke. And the same with Dadaists. They really hated when they were put inside the box of Dada. They didn't want to be analyzed. So, but I think that it's meaningful because just we should, as designers or as design sensitive people, we should know what creates this emotional response to our audience. And I'll go to a Vienna favorite artist, Stefan Sagmeister. So a way to be absurd is to cross boundaries. Are you still following? I hope everything works fine. So a way to be absurd is to cross boundaries. So we have here, this is a poster for an event called Fresh Dialogues that was organized by the American Institute of Graphic Arts. And Sagmeister, as a young artist, decided to take a raw approach to this assignment. So he thought, what makes dialogue? Our tongues. Our tongues produce vowels and consonants. And so he used cow tongues and some draft typography to illustrate the poster. And the American Institute of Graphic Arts did not like it at all. But for the artist to be absurd, he also has to be brave. And he stood by it. And not only he stood by it, he consistently stood by absurd choices and art. He consistently stood by his choice to create meaning and not necessarily beauty. So this is an ad, a carte postale for his office in New York. He takes again this assignment quite literal, like I'm opening my office, my own company. What is my company? My company is me, my body. So he's really crossing our boundaries, especially the thing that was created about, 30 years ago. And he is really crossing the moral boundaries of the viewers in a playful way, thus managing to create a dialogue with the audience, kind of more honest, down-to-earth dialogue, even if it annoys a little bit. And exactly because it annoys. And that's an example from a UX. Imagine if that was your homepage. You can translate that if you're a developer or you have any kind of company. That's what we do as an agency. We fix your number one problem. Your website is boring AF. Quite to the point, and quite crossing boundaries in the sense that it's rude, isn't it? Please feel free to write comments. I'm gonna present now a lot of examples. And I'm interested in what was the most impressive for you and the best that illustrates the point. So another way to be absurd is to defy expectations. When you think about burger ads on billboards, you think about these beautiful burger ads. And the response of the viewer in these ads can be, oh, yummy, I should go to Burger King. Or it can be, yeah, I'm hungry. Or it can be, yeah, sure, you're making just junk food. Sorry. And here we have that this ad from Burger King, it plays with our expectations. It touches all kinds of all these theory responses, and especially the yeah sure kind of response. Like it comes to the level that it shows you something that you cannot deny, and in that way it tells you, I am real food. And it reaches deeper in you because you can now start having a dialogue with it. You cannot just shrug it off. Another way that another thing that can be considered absurd is when we see things that could be beautiful but are ugly, like South Park. Think of South Park. It's part of our pop culture, so it's very hard to see it with fresh eyes. But if you think about it, it has set the aesthetic bar intentionally very, very low. Like the animation is crude and the characters are almost indistinguishable, but their clothes are different, just their clothes are different. And basically animation it's an animated movie, and the animation is so bad, and the characters are children, and they swear like sailors. So again, we have South Park breaking all the conventions, and yet being loved by so many people from all over the world. So, and it's not just South Park, it's not just some animated movies, is that also artists played with it and meme creators. Sometimes beauty is not so powerful as ugliness. Our quest for beauty is our quest for meaning, and our life is ridden by average, not so beautiful things, from our way to work to the way our rooms look or our desks look, to how we write and what we do. Sorry. So by using some kind of ugliness intentionally and with loads of intelligence, like in South Park, we can reach deeper. We can go beyond the yeah, sure kind of feeling. We can go beyond being ignored. Now to more visual things, more visual qualities of absurdism. We see here like one way to play with the user's attention, not the user's, the viewer's attention, is distort forms. And we see that in illustration, like having huge arms and legs and distorting basically the way things go, particularly these two illustrations, you can easily imagine their cute version. And yet the artist on the one side, on the left, decides to show you an illustration with otherwise cute colors and cute subject from a very strange perspective, and on the other side everything is melted. And this kind of, again, defies somehow our expectations and makes us stunned with some surprise. And here, if I have time in the end, I don't know how well I am with time. Let me see. We have a website that is also playing with this. I'll show you the website later, but this is a website that gives loans, and you would expect to look completely different, really serious and clean and stuff. Yet they choose to throw some shapes around these couches and stuff that you see and make you operate the website by sliding this yellow-black slider there. And thus creating a feeling of, oh, didn't expect that. And another visual quality of absurd that you might see around you, especially if you're in Berlin, I guess, is unusual palettes. So I'm sure that you have observed how harmonic palettes make us feel, kind of in peace, and how ugly palettes make us feel. Yet you can create something really powerful with ugly palettes. You can really capture attention and make, basically in this case, you're trying to tickle a little bit your viewer, or to kind of scratch them, annoy their eyes, and start different conversation. And that's a UX example of this. And here you see a website that is completely defying all kinds of design principles, like letters are blown up and the leading between lines is wrong, and the the contrast is totally wrong. And in general, whatever you wouldn't do when you would think, I will make a website, they do it here. And somehow the end result is cute to me and super interesting, a reason to revisit the website. Now to my favorite example, because you can actually find a story of how successful this website is in the UK. So this woman on the motorcycle. She's Mrs. Link. She's very crazy. She has participated in a show of Trump many years ago. I didn't watch it, I just read that. And about entrepreneurship, I don't know. And you can see in her website, linkscars.com, her face all around, making recommendations and basically saying and doing ridiculous and outrageous things. Yet, as she says, she shows all her professionalism in the user experience that she offers, in the experience that she offers to her customers by giving them the best service. But she wants to make their website the most unique in the business that she's in. And this has some influences from the Chinese, her Chinese background, like websites in China are super crowded and much more flashy and than Western websites. But she's even exaggerating that to a great extent. Yet she's very famous and seems to be very successful. Even makes her own videos when she does things like, I don't know, attaching rockets on cars and stuff. It might hurt your eyes, but in combination with great experience, service experience, and with the uniqueness that she offers, there's so much character. It's a good example of how even intense absurdity can make a point and make people distinguish you from the crowd, your competitors. And now I'm coming to the recycling part. Here on the left side, you see the Allegria design system from Facebook, not design system, illustration system from Facebook, where you can see a tiny bit of form distortion in the figures that we didn't see in the illustrations above that I showed before. So we have this beautiful color illustration that in any way you wouldn't call absurd, yet this kind of form distortion element just adds a little bit of expressiveness. And on the right side, you see the Dropbox illustration. The Dropbox, some instances from the Dropbox illustration history. And I really want to recommend to you to go to Medium and go to Google and type illustration history of Dropbox. And you will find two very beautiful stories, how Dropbox started from an employee who was like, drawing a little bit some stickman trying to kill a bug just to explain to the users of Dropbox back then, when Dropbox was a small company, that we are trying to solve this. And his manager telling him, we won't look serious. We are keeping people's data. We have to look serious. And this employee said, well, let data decide. Let's see what people think about it. Let's put it in one side and see how people react. And people really loved it. And he was just hand-drawn things. He just made hand-drawn bad drawings, but he took some references that people could relate to. And so they illustrate, of course, Dropbox after that became a huge, big company and became a little more consistent and more mainstream. But now, if you see the visual style of Dropbox, it's returning to its more expressive roots. Latest on bottom is the more recent Dropbox visual update that I saw. But look at these articles in Medium. They're lovely, if you're interested in the topic, sorry. And that's an example from MailChimp, where their creative director says that the absurdity style helps to punctuate the tone of the campaign, which celebrates outgrowing your business name as an ultimate sign of success. This is something that MailChimp knows well. The word mail is in their name, but they do more than mail. So again, like Dropbox, it's a boring service. They do data, they save data, but they do more than that. And to extend something from something that's lifeless and boring, like MailChimp or Dropbox, you need some form of expressiveness, and expressiveness is given by this more weird style. So in the end, my message is try to think how you communicate with your audience, and try to think where you could be more honest, more authentic, more direct. If you show a bit vulnerability while holding a stance of being confident in what you do, you can go beyond the idea, the reaction of the end user that is, yeah, sure, you are the best team, yeah, sure, yeah, you have 30 years of experience, and yeah, and you offer your free service, yeah, sure. I mean, we are so overflown by input, by flashy, beautiful things. That's why I write, there are seasoned oceans between you and your target customer. So bring the conversation to a level that they can see you as a genuine, or as much genuine as you can. Just push it a little bit. And just a note for the end, like, stock illustrations are beautiful. These are from Humans Illustration Library from Pablo Stanley. But please just use them for the draft of your website and hire an illustrator to push a bit further the expressiveness, to look a bit more vulnerable, imperfect, thus human in your visual and communication. And also that applies also to the copywriting. So just a recap, absurd is honest and vulgar sometimes, crossing moral boundaries, laughs at expectations, it's ugly, dysmorphic, doesn't care for harmony in color or composition, but it's highly beneficial in small doses and recycles back in the mainstream. And there's a simple way to start. Just do what you normally don't do, just to try, if you have time and when you have time. And yeah, that's it. I'd love to get your impressions. Write me or find me on LinkedIn, and I will now want to answer your questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for your talk, Angeliki, for showing us the other take on UX. I just checked the chat and it seems we don't have any questions at the moment, but you explained how to reach out to you otherwise. So I guess there are just no questions at the moment, but everyone can of course leave a round of applause in the chat and say if you enjoyed the talk. Okay, someone says, thank you, this was a big inspiration. Okay, so some positive feedback. Okay. Okay, great. Well then, thank you very much again for being here. And thank you everyone for attending, and have a good day.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.